At what point did you like take it from this is fun and a hobby to like this is your full-time job? Like, and you know what interests me so much is because that your wife was involved from the get-go.
Yes.
Because I could see how that could cause issues. Like if you're doing this stuff and she's not like in the picture, she'd be like, "Are you nuts? What are you doing?" But that's awesome that she was right there from the start. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I kind of was not really forced into it, but my background was in commercial construction. I was I was an intern architect for a firm and outside of Memphis, and that's what I went to school for. And so I was working, but then in 2008, the recession hit, and I'd only been with the company about 3 years. And so I was with a low man on totem pole, and a couple other guys. We got laid off, and then luckily I did get a job with another firm downtown, and I worked with them. But the recession was still going strong, and I was there maybe a year or two, and I was still doing the barbecue stuff at this time, but not for profit. I was just
Right.
doing it. I didn't have rubs or sauces to sell, but I loved competition barbecue, and I loved sharing what I was learning. And so by that second layoff, I got a little money and we had a little savings. I think at the time we had like 6 months of, all our bills covered, all our mortgage, everything to live
Right.
off of. We had 6 months worth of money, which is not a lot. But
No.
and then what little severance I got, at that time I was making rubs myself and like doing them cottage style, to where everything was at home and I was just selling them like at a farmer's market or friends and family. I probably wasn't supposed to be doing some of it. I don't know how legal it was, but I realized quick that it was growing so fast that I couldn't keep up, and so I was going to have to deal with a co-packer. And so I took
Yep.
what money we had and I bought, I worked with a co-packer and I got my first pallet of seasonings in. That it was just one product. And when we got that delivered, it was just me and Rachelle. That was it, me and Shell. And so we
Yep.
said, I don't know how we're gonna sell this. We probably never will, but we're gonna try our best. We're gonna start making videos and we're gonna put our product out there and we're gonna and we did it all. I mean, we did that for 10 years, just me and her. Out
Wow.
of our house, we would make videos. We would, she had a social plan on how we were going to, make posts and take pictures and learn to do video. And then the whole time we're taking orders and we're the packers and the shippers and the customer service. We're the whole thing.
The whole
And,
thing, man.
we're trying to sell to wholesale people because people were wanting to buy in the mom and pop stores. That was kind of, what kicked us off. There was a few mom and pop stores that took a risk on us to bring our products in, and we've just grown it over the years and been steady. And I haven't had a real job since 2008.
That's amazing. I just love that story of like taking a chance and going after it and making it happen. That's so cool. Let's talk a little bit about. I heard that, and I think it was maybe on the Rempe show, that you said you were going to not do competitions anymore. Talk about a little bit like when you first got started in competitions. You were Killer Hogs with your brother. What were some of those early days like in top awards, and then what led you to the decision of really kind of not taking a back seat on the competitions for right now?
Well, so we started out. It was we had a pretty big team, but it was like a party team. That's all we did, and we started out in the backyard division. But me and my brother kind of got serious about it, and I met my wife Rachelle, and she started coming and helping us at contests. So it was just the three of us for a long time, and we would
Okay.
just we knew that we didn't have the budget or the money or the sponsors, the backers to really compete every single contest. But we would load up a pickup truck and throw some grills in the back, and we'd go cook ribs. We'd jump in there with the big dogs. We would cook the pro categories, and we might just do ribs, but we would go pretty much anywhere that we could get within 8 to 10 hours of home. And so we started doing that, and we, built up a
And
pretty.
that was straight Memphis style cooks.
That was
MBN.
it was back then. It was the Memphis and May network, and then it changed
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
network, and we still did it. But we also found the KCBS network around that time too. So we started doing some of both. And then we ended up, it got to a point where we were doing 25, 26 contests a year, which
That's a
for
lot.
us, still trying to work, was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a big commitment. You're talking half the year, you're cooking somewhere. And there were stretches where we would go 7, 8 weeks straight. And it's like you got to get in the habit of going home, reloading, getting all your stuff ready, and getting back out there. And we cut our teeth doing that, man. And it was like learn as you go and just try to stay consistent. And we've had some pretty good luck. We've been on the big stage at Memphis in May. We've got calls at the Jack. We've got calls at the Royal.
That's awesome.
I've won some pretty big steak cook-offs. We got into that for a little bit.
Yeah.
If it was competitive cooking, I was, game for trying it. We
Yeah.
won Hogs for the Cause
Same.
here down in New Orleans, and I love the camaraderie, the family it feels like when you're out at a contest. I'm telling you, you meet some of the best people in the country, in the world, cooking
Yeah.
barbecue, and it's just I think it's the love of food, the love of being outdoors and cooking food over fire. People just gravitate to it.
The camaraderie is unbeatable, man. That's what really drove me to competition barbecue. I love to compete. Like it's in my blood. Like whether it was playing basketball in grade school or cooking in culinary school, like I wanted to win. I wanted to be the best. And combined with like the party aspect and the drinking and the fun with the friends and everything, competition barbecue was lights out for me. It was like this is amazing. Like it was so fun. And I actually, a couple years ago said the same thing. I just can't do it anymore. So I was just wondering how you felt about that.
Well, I mean, I do miss going out there and competing on a weekly basis. It's just that this has turned into a full blown business for us. I mean, we've got 15, 16 employees here that I'm responsible for, and then and the more people you add, the harder it gets. I'm not going to lie, because I mean, there's a whole side to business that people don't see that don't do it. Because when it was just me and Rachelle, we just had to decide to work, But now you've got these other people that you have to be responsible for. And so it takes a lot. Well, we found. I mean, I still do. I do some judging now. I do. There's still some contests. Well, I'll jump in and do. I've been having fun with some wild game cooking here lately. We just did one recently, so I'm not through doing competition barbecue, but I'm through running a schedule. Trying to run a season on one of them. There's going to be contests that I'm going to go have fun at and cook. I won't say. I mean, if you're firing them up and there's a trophy involved, I'm going to try to be competitive. But I don't have it as bad to where I think I've got to get out there and run week to week to week.
Right.
That's a big commitment, man. I don't have the time to do that right now. There may be a time in my life where I get to retire, if we call it retiring, when I get to go back and do some of that. But
that's awesome.
It's still fun to me. I still have a passion for it. There's just there's a lot of other things out there too that I love to do, and we want to be a part of.
When you're talking about like the business side of your business, there's, the posting, but then there's production of the sauces and distribution for all that and working on retail. Who's been a mentor to you in that process? Like who have you looked to for help and trying to get, the whole business to operate like a business versus it's just like, you're at home with your wife posting and trying to see what works. Now you guys are established and like you said, you're responsible for other people and, where have you found inspiration or help from to get that side of the business going?
So, I mean, a lot of it, like we didn't have a lot of people, mentors basically, but I had some great people in barbecue that I've met that are my mentors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your uncle's one, Dave. He's been an open book. If I've ever had a question about something, and I think it's just because he's done it and he's just the type person that will share. He's an open. Right. He's an open type person, but he was real.
He always tells people is like, you'll stop asking questions before I'll stop answering them.
That's exactly true. But Mike Mills was another one that was really, influential to us. I remember going to, they used to do a business of barbecue class. It was like a weekend long class, 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so I went to that one year, but my buddy Mark Lambert, he was kind of doing it before I was. So he was real influential, when we got started and helping out. So I've had some people, some really big names in the barbecue world that are friends, that I consider them friends, not just mentors, but good friends. And I think you run across people in that. I mean, barbecue is competitive. There's no doubt about it. It's always been, everybody had a secret sauce recipe. I mean, your family's famous for one.
Yeah.
You know how that was. Nobody really shared that kind of stuff back in the day. Yeah. And it kind of happened, and I like to think that I was kind of on the forefront. I wouldn't say I won't take responsibility for sharing all the secrets, but I realized quick that, man, there's not a lot of great information out there, and there's not somebody that's just,
When I first started competition barbecue, it was no joke impossible to figure out what the money muscle was. If you didn't know, you just didn't know. Like, where is it? What are you talking about? Slicing this in loins? I mean, and that's like one of the first videos I did when we started getting some traction, because I'm like, people need to know this and they want to know. And it's like, one of the best pieces of meat you'll ever have if it's done right. I'm like, other people should know about this, you know. But you're absolutely right. There's barbecue it's kind of like, you know, grandma's secret recipe, or this is the award-winning sauce. It's kind of it has that vibe to it for sure.
Absolutely.
Where are you at with the Killer Hogs product line as far as how much, what percentage are you online sales versus retail? And do you plan to go more into retail, or are you happy selling online, or how do you think about that?
We're split pretty even. You know, we've always had our website where we sell from. That's the How to BBQ Right website with the shop, and the Killer Hogs website goes to that shop too. So it's all the same shop. And we actually do those orders and customer service, all that stuff. But a big part of our business too is the wholesale side, which is the business to business side, the B2B. And that was, you know, kind of carried us for a little while before we got our retail sales up. We would sell to mom and pop barbecue supply stores or hardware stores or little grocery stores. And then we started dabbling with doing Amazon, and, you know, so Amazon's grown a lot. And then we've got into bigger box retail like your Walmarts or your Kroger's, your larger chains, your Ace Hardware.
I saw you in Walmart, even up here. Like that was impressive.
So those numbers, I mean, those skew a lot because, I mean, you know, those big stores like to beat you up on prices. So, I mean, absolutely. If someone buys from my website, I definitely make more of the money on it because it's me. When I have to, you know, sell something to someone else, and then they have to, you know, they have to mark their price on it and be cheaper than somebody else, they start beating you up on pricing. But we're probably, you know, we're still 50-50. Sorry about that. I had a little ding there. But we're still about 50-50 on, you know, our sales versus all the wholesale stuff combined. And so, so it's, you know, it's pretty tit for tat. But I would imagine that bigger box retail, the more chains that add, the more stores they have, they'll end up taking over my individual sales one of these days. Right now it hasn't happened, but we're still, so not only do I do the Killer Hogs products, but I started making a Malcom's line of products, which is more, it's not just barbecue stuff. Like I've got a Cajun seasoning, Italian seasoning, a jerk seasoning. So I've done things like that. And I do some hot sauces and I do some pickles. I've done some other grill cleaner products and things like that. So I'm kind of diversifying instead of just concentrating on Killer Hogs barbecue products. I feel like I've got a pretty good line of those. You know, I've got 5 seasonings and 3 sauces and a hot sauce under
got that covered.
Table. So some of the other stuff, I just try to do it so there's some diversity to what we're doing.
What's that one called? Is it the Gringo seasoning?
The Grande Gringo. That's my Mexican.
Grande Gringo. I gotta check that out, man. That sounded so good. I was watching the beef cheeks video. Man, those look so good.
You know how good beef cheeks are, man.
People don't know because it's not like super common, but man, that melts in your mouth. And I saw you make that sauce you were braising them in. I was like, boy, I gotta try some of that.
That's some good stuff, man. That's one of the finer things in life. Some good cooked down, smoked and braised beef cheeks and all that good juice it makes in that pot. You know, you got that consomme that you can strain, and oh man, it's so good.
Yeah. When we were in culinary school, the dean of culinary school, Chris Ketke, he was like a big deal, and we didn't even see him that much because he was on TV and doing all this stuff. But whenever he had like a special dinner, there was people coming in, and me and my wife, I met my wife at culinary school, actually. We were always like, he'd always come to us because he knew we would help him out. He'd be like, oh, I need help. And every time he did a special dinner, he did braised beef cheeks. And it was just like, you know, super high quality. And that's where I really learned about beef cheeks. But man, they're so good. And we've done them a couple different ways on our channel too. And it's like, yeah, people just don't know. It was so funny. The one time, one of our biggest pop-off videos was beef cheeks. And I said something about like, check out this meat you've never seen before. And all the Hispanic culture got on my ass. I cook that every Sunday. And it was like, that's what made the video go crazy. Because the Hispanics were so pissed that I was like, this white boy doesn't know what beef cheeks are. But that's what you love about social media.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, man.